Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation coach on planet Earth because I'm the most inspired one, and I'm so inspired to record this audio for you right now. My coaching is unlike any other coaching. All the information from me is below. The link to my website is below. I coach mainly in audio exchange as well as phone sessions. We talk 2 to 3 times per week. I always start with a phone session that I record. I take an extraordinary amount of notes. Everybody in my coaching gets a separate legal pad. And I cover it with notes. Sometimes I start on another pad, depending on how long you're in my coaching. I recommend 2 to 3 months in coaching with me. I go through everything, your belief system, which means we start with your childhood, adolescence, college years, all the way up until today, because I really want to understand what I'm working on, who you are, what you have manifested thus far, and why. Okay. I'm extremely thorough in my coaching. This is the only way I can help you. I don't believe in doing this job half-ass, okay? This is not how it's done. I will never do it this way because I've seen people do it. I've watched other people do it on the internet. I know I've witnessed some people do it this way. I don't do it this way. I put in my time into every single client, whether that's the audio exchange or the telephone sessions. I genuinely care about every single person. And unless you start rebuttaling me and start, questioning my methods, you will achieve the greatest results in my coaching. If you just trust my methods, plural, and you understand that I'm on your side. Okay, sometimes it gets uncomfortable during this work, but you just have to trust that I mean well and that I'm on your side. And yes, it is not the easiest job to do, to examine yourself, but it's necessary, very necessary if you'd like to accomplish any kind of profound change in your life. And so if you'd like to get coaching with me, please book. The link is below. Sign the agreement and get in touch with me when you'd like to start the first session over the phone, in which we discuss what you'd like to work on in your coaching. I ask that you come humble, that you come open, you come honest, respectful, obviously, and of course. My coaching fee is non-refundable, so please watch more than one video of mine to understand my personality is very direct, very honest. I cut through the fucking bullshit and cut to the chase because I don't dilly-dally. I really want to deliver results. I am not going to sit there and listen and not give you feedback. That is not my job. I'm here to give you feedback and really deliver to you, to your new reality where you ultimately belong. If you've got any questions, my email is below. And I also posted I realized it wasn't so well ahead of time. About 30 minutes ago, I posted, if you've got any questions, I will answer. Well, I don't have time to wait. I was just inspired. And so if you have any questions, I will answer them in the comments, unless it's something that pertains a deep evaluation of yourself. Please understand, I cannot answer questions that are very specific to you. I can answer a general question, but not something that I would have to answer with the knowledge of where your circumstances are today and how you grew up and this and that. It would not be professional, and I don't think it would be good advice if I don't know all the facts. So the subject of today is no more third parties. And I don't know, I was just working on something with my fashion and I got so inspired. I'm like, hold on, I've got to pause this thing. I've got to record this really quick because otherwise, it's like the inspiration, when the inspiration is there, you've got to capture this element. So just to preface this thing really quick, I think what makes me a great coach, amongst other things, Other than me caring genuinely about the people who come into my coaching and for their development, is that I don't understand when people talk to me about 3D. I really don't. And that's not a disrespect to anybody at all, and people in my coaching or people just listening in. And by the way, if you're new, subscribe. You're going to learn so much on this channel, unlike any other channel. The other day, somebody asked me, I don't understand why your channel hasn't blown up yet. Well, I don't know either. I don't know. I guess because I'm not doing videos, but honestly, I just don't have time to do them just now. I've been super busy assisting my clients. That's my number one job. So the answer is I don't know. That's my first guess, that I don't show my face often enough. I will make an effort of it, but I've just been doing different things, working a lot, and so my schedule is crazy busy. And so, by the way, parenthesis here, if you need to coach with me, you really need to pre-book and wait for me. It takes about a week or so for me to include you into my schedule. So I would recommend that you pre-book and definitely commit to me 2 to 3 months. Anyway, the point is, my inspiration to record this is that 3D, I've never understood 3D. I've never subscribed to this 3D bullshit situation. And it came to me rather early, when I was about 12, and I talk about this on my channel extensively. And I don't know why. I suppose I was fascinated by writing stories and by, I suppose, fairy tales, making up your reality as you go. Back then I didn't know that. But I was really fascinated by the imagination of it, the imaginary world. And I noticed the correlation between imagining things and them coming true, and most importantly, me writing them down, feeling them, really being enchanted by them, and them coming true. And so for me, 3D lost its validity like a long time ago. Now, that is not to say I cannot enjoy 3D. I very much can, if it's to my pleasing, but if it's not, I don't give it any validity. I mean, I'm a human, everybody is. Momentarily, I can get really irritated sometimes, but it's only for a moment, and then I remind myself, oh yes, this has absolutely nothing to do with where I'm going. And it's completely and entirely up to me. And my recent experience, perhaps that's why I'm so kind of like inspired also, I've changed the situation that was completely unpleasant recently. And I'm not going to go into specifics just yet. I'm going to wait out until it kind of like plays out till the end. I'm still working on it. I've gotten confirmation through the way that I feel, through the messages that I've gotten, that 3D is never the answer for you to telegraph yourself further into that reality where you don't belong. You need to telegraph yourself out of it. I don't know how else to explain it. And so the most magical of feelings is when you look at the 3D and you say, what does that have to do with me? I already have decided something completely different. Of course, people talk about persistence and this and that, but for me, it goes further than that. It goes that it's so comical to me that people pay attention to 3D, because the kind of world I live in, and this is not to be braggadocious or anything, but in my personal world, I designed it. I know how I designed it from start to finish. And so when somebody comes and starts to disrupt or tries to disrupt something that I've created, I look at them like they're a complete and utter moron. And I'm like, don't you understand that you exist in my world? What's wrong with you? And then I do my meditation, I do my intentions, I do my scripting and this and that. And don't you know, it always turns in my favor. Now, it doesn't really matter who is coming against you or what is happening and this and that. It always turns out the way you want it to be if you're on fucking purpose. And so this whole 3D bullshit needs to be dropped entirely. The only person you need to trust is yourself, with your visions, with your intentions. You don't need you don't need to offer any explanation to anybody. You don't need to offer any, you don't need to be apologetic about it. Or, basically excuse yourself from your own power. You need to reclaim your power and trust that you know exactly what you're creating in this moment in time. Now, if you don't understand how you're creating it, then that's another story. Get into my coaching. I'll explain it to you. But if you do, all right, listen, everything I record on my channel, I'm not just going on the assumption that you're somewhere like on the level of what I'm explaining, that you already understand it. And if you don't, like I said, I'm offering coaching. So don't take it like, I'm above you or anything like that. Nothing of the kind. I'm just talking the way I know how to talk so that you can get inspired or maybe triggered or whatever and start exploring the situation to the best of your ability. All right. And just to add to the preface, and I know this is a really long preface, the world is magical, but the world is not real. It really isn't. It's whatever you decide in the moment. It's however you're inspired to conduct it. You're the conductor of your orchestra. You're the Monet Modigliani. You're the Hans Zimmer. You're whatever the fuck. You're the director of your movie. You're the Quentin Tarantino and the Scorsese and whoever else that you adore and admire. There's nothing else going on. You pick all the actors. You tell them what to do. So if in the moment you were human and you were frustrated or you had a bad day or a month or a year or a couple of years, examine that and start making new choices. It can happen on a dime. It can happen in 1 minute. Okay. So 3D has no bearing on your life, once more. The decisions that you make about your SP, now we go back to the subject. No more third parties is a real good proclamation. A lot of you write to me like endless emails and comments that there is a third party and you don't see a way out of it and this and that. Okay, the frustration that is with you about that is actually with you, not with the other person, not with the SP. The frustration is with you. The frustration is, I don't know why I'm manifesting it. Please help. Please help me understand how I'm manifesting it, which is why coaching is necessary. When you're in this position, it's absolutely necessary. Because I can't answer these kinds of questions via emails. I can't answer these questions in the comments. I really need to get to know you. That's the educated way to do it. But the thing is, the frustration is about you not understanding why you're creating it. Meanwhile, the program that's creating that shit is on a loop in the back of your mind. It could be going back as far as your parents. Usually is. It could be going back as far as your first crush in kindergarten. I don't know. Whatever. But something got stuck there. And for it to be unstuck, you really need to examine it. And you really need to go back there and revisit it. Not in a therapy kind of session. I'm not a therapist, I'm a coach. But in understanding how these things came to manifestation. Not that in kindergarten you were manifesting consciously, but that you took the cue from that and kept manifesting it. And so the decisions that you make today, though, is to have a say-so over your reality, provided you have done the work on your beliefs, okay? Always have to insert that. No more third parties is a declaration towards your reality where it's like, I have had enough of this creation. I have made my decision. I'm making this decision and I'm making this proclamation. There isn't going to be any third party. And by that, I really do mean, by the way, not just in a romantic sense, but also in a professional sense. For example, when there's a third person interfering and causing a commotion, you kind of want to say, well, you and I get along just fine, but who the fuck is this third idiot that I don't really want to deal with? Right? Or it could be a different other way, different other ways that you can basically experience it. A third party is somebody who's not your preference for them to be there, period. Okay? And so to exterminate this problem from your life forever, you have to understand where it came from in the first place. You probably attributed in the past some kind of power towards someone else versus yourself, okay? And that you don't have the power, but somebody else does. It isn't true. It has never been true. You just perceived it this way and you bought into this bullshit. Don't know why. Again, don't know your story or your circumstances of your upbringing or anything like that. The entire shebang is to give yourself the power back and say, you don't decide what happens in my reality, I do. And so therefore, you are unwelcome in my reality. I've welcomed you before. I don't know how I did it. I was stupid to do that. But starting today, starting this moment in time, you are uninvited. You're irrelevant. You are vanished. I was just, actually, this is what I was listening to this morning. I love this channel on YouTube. It's called Paranormal Rising. It's an excellent channel. Go check it out. Paranormal Rising. And this guy basically reads back the Reddit accounts of these people who experience really weird things like shifting dimensions and parallel realities and this and that. Some of it is a little bit spooky. I don't like the spooky shit. I like the kind of like mysterious stuff. And when you really listen to it, it's not really that mysterious. It's just shifting to parallel realities, shifting to different dimensions, etc. And so I got so inspired, and I'm like, that's exactly what it is. If you want to have your third party situation finished and done with forever, you just have to declare it. It's as if it's never been any other way. I don't have any third parties. I've never had any third parties. This is not my fucking problem. And this third party is gone as if they've never been here before. Done. It's that decision, like it's another parallel reality, another timeline, another dimension. In this dimension, parallel reality or timeline, whatever you want to call it, things operate this way. This is what I declare, and this is what I command to my universe. Before, I was confused. I accepted this premise, but from here on, no more fucking third parties, no more interference. I am the god of my reality. I just decided, and so it is. Okay? And you know, I've spoken about some really strange things that have happened to me. Not strange. To me, they're not strange. Because if you accept, just like I said in the beginning, if you accept that you live in the world of your creation, if you accept that you live in the fairy tale, some of you have composed a nightmare. But if you accept that you live in a fairy tale versus a nightmare, things are possible that otherwise would not have been. Right? In both directions. Now, if you live in a nightmare, things will be possible that you haven't even contemplated. If you live in a fairy tale, the same thing is true, except it's marvelous and things that you have never even contemplated that would be true. And so, I've experienced these things where there is no explanation other than I've shifted realities and I've spoken about them. Some of them are minor, some of them are really profound. The biggest ones I'm hesitating to kind of like talk about still because it's a little too personal, but I've spoken about things disappearing overnight, people changing, this and that, things turning into my favor overnight and all this stuff. Go check out all of my content. It's there. I don't want to repeat myself. But that's the thing that I want to instill to my listeners, where it's like, and my clients alike, where when you decide something, it is. It is. I was walking my dog the other night, and I asked for a confirmation of some sort, and I'm not going to talk about it yet, but I got it in the minute that I wished for it. And I said, wouldn't it be? And it was there. Wouldn't it? I didn't even get to say, wouldn't it be nice if it was there? Now, my universe knew exactly what I intended to see or experience, and it was there. And then I said it the next day. I did the same thing, and I said, but give me another confirmation that this is so. And I got it again, the same exact confirmation. It was so marvelous. It was absolutely extraordinary. And I guess this is what I try to teach on my channel, where it's like, if your energy is intact with your wonderful, miraculous fairy tale world, nobody and nothing can ever come against you. Nobody and nothing can ever come against you. So you can decide right here, right now, that there are no more third parties in your world, and they will fucking vanish like they never were there. And I have other news for you. If you decide your SP is exactly the way that you wanted them to be all this time before, it's like the old version never existed. True story. I don't know how else to say it to you. It's just magic like that. It's not real magic. It's not like poof, you're performing some magic trick on stage. It's just you shifting to a parallel reality on purpose with your consciousness, deliberately, knowingly so, but with full belief, fully invested, fully intentional to deliver the magic to you, the result. And it doesn't really matter if you don't get it like overnight. Some people I talk to in my coaching are like, what if I don't get it right there and then? Did it not work? It's working. It might just be that maybe there is a delay of some kind that will also serve you. If you just stay put with it and not stress about it, it will come faster. Sometimes it happens just like that, overnight. I mean, listen, not to brag, my manifestations, they come almost immediately. But sometimes it takes a day or two. So what? Stay put and cool your cookies and go do something. Go drink some chamomile tea. Take a bath of it while you're at it, and just like know that your desire is already there. What have you got to worry about if you commanded it into existence and said, no more third parties, done, basta, don't worry about it. I don't care for third parties, but not in a detesting way, but in like that's not what I want anymore. That's it. I'm done with this fucking bullshit. I want to experience an entirely different situation where everything I say goes. I don't have to feel any interference. I don't have to feel anything like anybody's impeding on my happiness or anything like that. I'm fully embodying my happiness. And you know what? That aura, that energy that you will produce and emit into the universe, it will cancel out all fucking bullshit that you've ever experienced before. But the trick is that to understand that you're on another parallel reality, in another dimension, in another fucking timeline, whatever you want to call it, okay? Words are just words, but you get it. The other thing is like when people worry about situations like, well, they're better looking than me, or like they make more money than me and this and that, or whatever. You know how much it doesn't matter? The spell work that you do on your SP is purely your mind. Purely your mind. It doesn't have to make sense. Now, you don't have to be, what I'm saying is that you don't have to be the perfect person. Nobody fucking is, okay? All you have to do is think that this person is gaga for you and crazy for you and only for you, and that there are no more third parties. They've become irrelevant. They've become completely boring to them, or they've completely dropped off the face of the earth, or something happened and something switched in their mind, and they said, what am I doing wasting my time with all these fucking broads over here, or all these fucking idiots? I belong with that person. But the switch comes on when you decide it comes on. If you're thinking somebody's better than you, then they think that too. If you think there's nobody else like me for them, that they think that too. In the moment you decide it and proclaim it, they think that too. In the moment. You can make them so obsessed with you overnight, it will not make any fucking sense. Other than you've shifted to a different reality where this person was always this way. Where is the other asshole? Don't know, don't care. This is the guy I always wanted. This is the girl I always wanted. And this is what I got. And this is just what it is. And the thing is, and I think the trick is that you have to convince yourself. There's nobody else to convince but you. Remember that. You have to convince yourself, of the truth of the reality that there are parallel realities. And there's nothing else going on. That's the game in town that a lot of people either not explain correctly, I found, or make it such a tremendously out of reach deal that you just your hand is spinning by the time the video is over. The universe is always talking to you because the universe is you, right? So you're talking to yourself all the time. It's you commanding things into existence. So pay attention to what you're saying to the universe. It's going to be like the mirror that you're talking to. They're obsessed with me, they love me, there's nobody else. The mirror is going to answer back the same. If you're saying something different, like, oh, he has so many third parties and this and that, and they're more important than me, that's what's going to play out in the mirror in your reality. So pay attention to what you're saying to your universe, because that's a command. You're a commander-in-chief in your reality. You're commanding all the time. Pay attention to what you're doing. Be on purpose about it. That's the class act of a manifestational genius, being on purpose about it. Because everybody's about the same shebang with this SP and third parties and this and that conversation. It's like, how would you like to have total power over your SP and your reality? Well, but you already do. Duh, you already do. How would you like to? I already do, darling. I always had and always will. What is this about? I just have to properly construct my belief system and properly command. That's the only problem, really. I always have command over my reality and over my SP. The command that I issued before obviously is playing out in my reality. So what else is new? I think with this work, if you really want to become, like I said, a genius manifestor, you have to become fearless in accepting new concepts and not be like, well, I've never done this before. I don't know that this is even permissible or this and that. Fuck that shit. Be on purpose and be fearless. Start exploring why other people are having success and maybe you are not yet. Because you're not fearless enough to discard your old preconceived notions or old beliefs and this and that, and start really embracing the truth. And the truth is that you really, if you want something, okay, plainly put, you not only do you deserve it, but you already have it. And for some reason, you're dancing around, you're tiptoeing around this reality and not going there, not diving into it, and really experiencing it. Now, the reasons could be innumerable, but you only know the answer. And usually it's like, I don't deserve it, and I'm insecure, I'm not good enough, blah, 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 blah. But the reasons are innumerable because your experience is very, different from other people, very precise and specific. That's why. Having power over your SP is the easiest shit in the world. And I really do mean it. A lot of people think I think I'm they think they think I'm full of shit. But it isn't the truth. That's the easiest thing. To influence another person, quote unquote, is the easiest shit in the world. Just start thinking what you want them to start thinking. It doesn't matter what happened before. I've done this so many different ways. Like I said, it doesn't mean that it has to be romantic, but sometimes there are some people who are like in the fucking middle in your like business situation or some other situation, and they're causing some fucking bullshit. And I'm like, we're going to get rid of this fucking person. And this other person is going to trust me more than they trust the other person, because that shit is bullshit. And that's exactly what happens. Okay, sometimes you can get along with everybody. Sometimes there are people on some fucking bullshit, and that's just the end of it. Sometimes it just doesn't belong in your preferred reality, and you say no to this, yes to that. So if you want to, quote unquote, influence anybody or start delivering your magic over somebody and have total power over your SP, is the easiest shit in the world. Start deciding what you want them to think. No more third parties? Done. They're crazy over you? Done. They want to marry you? Done. They want to have children with you? Done. They realized what a complete fucking idiot they were, that they didn't realize it before? Done, done, done. But the thing is, what kind of situations are you playing in your mind right now? Be very, very attentive to that. Momentarily, you can distract yourself with doubt and this and that, but only momentarily. Go and ask yourself, where is this coming from? Well, it's coming from your previous experience, which has nothing to do with with what you're creating next. Right? So you're creating something new or attracting something new, making something new visible. Why the fuck are you referring to the past notes? Who gives a shit? If you're creating something new, quote unquote, creating, really like making it visible out of the invisible, are you going to compare notes with the previous experiences? The answer is no, N-O. So you might as well embrace, and this is where the bravery comes in, the fearlessness of it all, where it's like, this is uncharted territory. I've never been here before, so I might as well be open to suggestions of the energy that is flowing my way. If I tap into the energy where this in fact is totally possible, not only possible, but it exists. Not only does it exist, but it's here. All I have to do is welcome it into my world. Then you've got something. You've got it made. You've got the gold. You just have to keep going in that direction and persist. These are all my notes. If you need coaching, all information from me is below. Until next time, thank you very much for listening. Ciao, ciao.